Hi, I'm Nicola Cairncross.
Hi, hello, hey, hi.
I'm going to talk to you about success. Yes.
Hi everyone, it's Nicola here and I'm speaking to you today from not so sunny Shoreham. We got back okay and I've had a weekend with the kids and then a week trying to work out where I was going to stay because the first place I had lined up didn't have good enough broadband, which after Greece is a bit of a strange one because you just expect everywhere's got better broadband than Greece, but no. Some people it seems have houses where they've just got broadband for watching telly and that's all they use it for. And what I found was the minute that anyone walked in with a smartphone, it just gobbled up the broadband width and I couldn't get online. So much as the welcome was warm and the room was lovely, I couldn't stay. So here I am back at my ex-husband Irving's, who's very generously moved out to his girlfriend's for a little while and she's even more generously let him in. So yeah, that's where I am. I'm staying with the kids right now. And that's really, really good fun because I'm getting to see all, them working on their new projects. Phoebe's video editing and production is coming along apace. She's working on a branding video for a global gamification expert. She's also just filmed the behind the scenes video of the recording of Dee Palmer, late of Jethro Tull. And she's working on a new album, which is going to be a real interesting mix from what I've heard. Phoebe was filming behind the scenes of that, and my sister asked her to do that because she really enjoyed the bridal behind the scenes video shoot she did. Nelson's working on his final project. He's been working on essays and research about the club scene, and he's also been making his own music. He's making a 4-track EP for his final project, and yesterday he locked himself in his room for a couple of days and emerged with a fully fledged rap track which he wrote the lyrics and performed the lyrics on. And he's fearless, this kid. He'll just put it up on SoundCloud straight away, and he just doesn't care. It's a bit like me, really. I just don't care what people think. I'd rather get it out there than not. So in this week's Vzine, I'm going to be talking to you about Instagram and giving you some quick tips on how to make the most of Instagram if you're just getting started. So hold up, and that section will be coming next. In the meantime, I'm going to show you around Shoreham.
We do down Johannesburg way.
So what I wanted to do today was to give you some tips on Instagram, and the thing that's triggered this off is the fact that I've been resetting up anything that can be automated again, but because I've been manually sharing everything onto every platform, and as part of my Be Everywhere online course I'm trying to show people what can be safely automated and what you need to do yourself. So basically the rule of thumb is that everything except Instagram can be largely automated if you make sure that it goes from your blog. There's a plugin you can use that makes sure that everything you blog on your website goes onto Twitter, your Facebook page, your Facebook profile, your Google Plus page if anyone cares about that anymore, LinkedIn. It goes across everywhere except for Instagram. Instagram will not allow automation. There are tools out there that keep being invented because everyone's desperate to automate their Instagram workings, but Instagram just keep one step ahead and they want to make sure that it's as natural as possible. So don't be tempted, even though it is tempting, to use automation, and that's one of my sort of main warnings really. I've got another one for you at the end, but in the meantime let's just talk about a few more tips for you. Try and take great pics. It doesn't involve being a David Bailey or a professional photographer. Just try and think about different angles. One of my most liked pictures recently was the one I took of a Stoupa sunset through the bottom of a water glass. I just put my camera right down low on the table and shot it through the bottom of the water glass, and I got loads of likes on it. So the other thing is to mix it up, share business and personal content. If you go, sometimes you click through to an account and it's all memes, it's all quotes, or it's all inspirational sayings on a dark background with, handsome men or women in the background and fast cars, and you just think, oh God, this account, while I don't mind seeing those Instagram pictures in isolation, if you go through to someone's account and that's all they've got, I'm not going to follow them, not by a million years. So if you want people to follow you, then you need to let people know that you're a real person. So the other thing is to add some word content in your caption section. The caption section is where you put the words that go with the pictures, and stuff that's got quite a bit of caption content seems to do very well. For example, I'm sharing little stories from my book Mindset, Marketing and Money at the moment. I'm creating a meme from a quote, and then I'm taking the bit of the story that the quote comes from and I'm putting that in the caption section. You can actually fit a surprising amount in there, so don't hold back on putting great content in there, because you're adding value to the people who like your pictures and who go a little bit further and read what's in your captions. If you want to do this on a desktop, which is much, much easier, let me tell you, then you can use a tool online called grum.co. It's grum.co, and I find that when scheduling my sort of main Instagram content, I find that really helps. You can copy and paste easily into the caption section. You can create a meme on canva.com on your desktop or on your phone indeed. Okay, so copy and pasting your hashtags into the first comment box is really easy with Grum as well. On that, there's a tip for this. You can have up to 30 hashtags. What I tend to do is use one hashtag in the main description part of the picture, the caption part. Then I will have a set of 4 or 5 different hashtags. So for example, if I'm talking about Own It the podcast, it would be one set of hashtags. If I'm talking about something from Mindset, Marketing and Money book, it would be a different set of hashtags. If I'm talking about the Be Everywhere online course, it's a different set of hashtags again. And if I'm just sharing general entrepreneurial stuff like inspirational quotes or whatever, it's a different set of hashtags again. And I keep them all on notes. Now, the reason I keep them on notes is because it is accessible from my desktop, my laptop, sorry. It's accessible from my mobile and it's accessible from my iPad. I can get to notes through any of those devices. So it's easy to go and copy and paste the various sets of hashtags. On that note, you're allowed up to 30 hashtags. So I tend to have, 20, 25 hashtags in each of those sets. And then what I tend to do is make up the difference, the extra 5 or 10 hashtags, with hashtags that are directly related to the content of the picture. So you're not constantly using the same hashtags over and over again for every picture you post. The reason you want to use these hashtags is because your picture is going to get shown in the different, if someone searches for one of those hashtags, your picture will be shown too. And we try and add as many of those hashtags in the first comment section, so that when other people come and comment, and there will be some auto post comments on your pictures, so you just won't be able to stop it, but that will push your comments, with all the hashtags out of the way, out of sight, so that's quite good. Okay, the other thing you need to do is keep your following follower count down. This is a similar thing to Twitter. You want to be following less people than are following you, on a ratio of 1 to 2, if not 1 to 3. So, for example, if you have 300 people following you, you can follow 100 people. Try and keep it to that kind of ratio, or like I say, a 1 to 2 ratio. Now, what that does is it means that you'll be seen as to be an influencer, and all the people who are using automated tools, they will be targeting you, and they'll come along and follow you, and then they'll unfollow you again if you don't follow them back. But some people will have their follow set a little bit more loosely, shall we say, so you'll end up picking up followers just because not everyone will unfollow you if you don't follow them back straight away. They'll have different time frames set. The other thing is to build relationships. If you get a comment that looks like it might have come from a real person, you know, rather than those junk comments where they're just saying, hi, great content, fantastic, awesome, all that old rubbish, then if you actually, you know, keep an eye on your comments and make sure that you do reply to anyone who might be a real person, that will help you build relationships on Instagram. Okay, get creative. Create an Instagram post for every single piece of content. I have blog posts going out, I have YouTube videos going out, I have native stuff uploaded natively to Facebook, I have podcasts twice a week, 3 times a week sometimes, and I create an Instagram post for each of those. Have a stock Instagram set of posts, keep them in the photos on your phone, and you know, for everything you do. So for example, if you've got a book, make an Instagram meme for the book. If you've got a podcast, make an Instagram meme for the podcast. We do, I circle through each of my products and services, but I make sure there's plenty of content in between. You don't want to be too promotional on Instagram. It's all about building relationships and building followers and getting to know people and getting people to know, like, and trust you through the pictorial content you're sharing. Okay, so the other great app that I use is Repost, and what that enables you to do is if you see an Instagram post you really like, you click on the 3 dots in the top right hand corner, you get the reshare URL, and you go over to your Repost app and follow the instructions there. It will actually automatically have picked up the caption content from the post that you wanted to reshare, because somehow, I don't know, your phone just retains the URL. But anyway, it's a really easy thing to learn how to use. If I can do it, you can too. And finally, don't forget to start experimenting. Finally, don't forget to start experimenting with Instagram Live and Instagram Stories. You know, just sort of play around, do a little Google. I'm not absolutely sure of the amount of video you're allowed, but I think it's up to 60 seconds of video for Instagram Live, and I'm not sure, and it's probably about the same for Instagram Stories, but experiment with that because it's getting a lot of traction at the moment, and you can build a relationship with people and add to your stories in the same way that you can on Snapchat. Now, the other final thing I wanted to say to you is that you can get shadow banned, which just actually happened to me just recently. Basically, that's where Instagram are investigating your account to make sure that you're not using automation and spamming people. And that usually comes down to the kind of hashtags you use and how often you use them. Shadow banning is an interesting one because you don't immediately realise it's happening to you unless you see a sudden drop in your likes on your pictures. Mine went from 150 to 200 likes down to 20 or 30 likes, and that's because Instagram were choosing not to show my pictures to all of the hashtags that I had chosen. They were limiting my pictures being shown to just, you know, a few of the hashtags and not the ones that I really wanted to be shown for. So that's why I suddenly started getting a lot less likes. Now, it's not a disaster. There is a website you can go to find out if you've been shadow banned for any of your hashtags you like to use. And I'm going to give you that URL in a second, but you basically just you go to this website, you put in your username on Instagram, and it will tell you if you've been banned for any of the hashtags that you've used on your most recent post. And what I've done to get my account unshadow banned again is just literally start posting completely manually without copying and pasting any hashtags at all, and I've been slowly adding back in the hashtags that I'd been told by this website I had been shadow banned for, and it seems to be working. I'm getting more likes on everything now. And the URL you want is shadowban.azurewebsites.net. shadowban.azurewebsites.net. Go over to there, put your Instagram user name in, and it will pick up your last post and tell you if you've been shadow banned for any of the hashtags you used on the last post. I hope it's been helpful. I really want to get you using Instagram, and as I say, if you have to automate everything else and just do Instagram manually, then I would certainly suggest you do that. You can get quite creative with Canva. It's I'm not the best at graphic design at all, but if I can use it, you can, and it would be definitely worth your while investing some time in using Instagram and building up your account there.
Darling, you send me, I know you send me. Darling, you send me, I know you send me. Darling, you send me, I know you.
Okay, Okay, so on the Own It podcast this week, we discuss an email I got from some very interesting potential clients indeed, where they're artistic and they're quite successful with their art, but they're running so many different things that they don't know which way to turn, they don't know what to stop doing, what to carry on doing, and they don't know how to organise their businesses to give them more time to do the thing that will really make a difference to their lifestyles and their income if they can break through with it, which is their art. So Judith and I talk about this a lot. She's got a lot of creative clients, and I actually went to art school, so I've got a teeny tiny insight into the artistic process. And really, they're reaching out because they want someone to help them organise their thoughts. They're perfectly capable in every way, shape, or form of what they're doing, but they just their noses are just too close to the grindstone. They just can't stop working, and it's a classic E-Myth thing of stopping, paying someone to come down and spend time with you who can help you organise your thoughts and work on your business rather than working in your business. On my blog this week at nicolacairncross.com/blogs, we've obviously got last week's ezine, which is all about overcoming your fears, and we've got the big blog post this week is where I outline in 6 simple steps. This is a bit of a monster blog post, so the 6 simple steps, where I actually outline the Be Everywhere Online principles from start to finish. So if you're looking for an insight into how the whole process works, how the whole system works, and how you can be online in less than 2 hours a week, then come on over to nicolacairncross.com/blog and scroll down till you see the headline, How to 10 Times Your Social Media Marketing Plan and Be Everywhere Online. I hope you find it useful, and I'd love to see your comments underneath the blog post. And I promise I'll find somewhere more interesting to record this next week. Speak to you soon. Bye.